Hello. Hello, and welcome to the 2025 State of the Elmhurst Park District. I'm Kevin Graf, President of the Park Board of Commissioners. I'm excited to be here, and we'll kick things off with some opening comments before I turn it over to our Executive Director, Jim Rogers, who will dive into the state of the district. This presentation is being recorded, and a link will be posted on the Park District website, epd.org, for those who couldn't attend today so they can view at their leisure. We believe this method will provide everyone with the opportunity to hear the awesome things the Elmhurst Park District is doing in the community. I'm extremely proud to live in such a great community and humbled to be able to serve you, our residents, while pursuing our mission to enrich lives while having fun. I'd like to acknowledge our other Park Board Commissioners, Vince Spaeth, or Vice President Claire Cabisa, Megan Scarcella, Tim Sheehan, Susan Sementek, Vince Spaeth, and Carolyn Ubriaco. So what does the Park Board do? We are a 7-member team elected by the residents and each serve a 6-year term staggered every 2 years. We're strictly volunteer without compensation. We provide strategic direction, oversight, and policy for the district. The board also approves the budget, large expenditures, and the tax levy. We seek community input on large-scale projects, park redesigns, and playgrounds. Our executive director handles the day-to-day operation and reports to the board. So what does the Elmhurst Park District provide the community? It's approximately 458 acres of open space, which is maintained by our full and part-time staff, over 1,000 recreational programs, along with many trips and other services to choose from across every age. We are proud to be the largest youth employer in the community, and we have Courts Plus, a full-service fitness center, and Sugar Creek Golf Course, a 9-hole course. The community has 30 parks, 20 playgrounds, 68 athletic fields, 2 pools, as well as 4 sled hills for the snowy months ahead. Speaking of having fun, we host over 10 free community events like Parkpalooza, Eldridge Adventure Day, Movies in the Park, and the Flashlight Easter egg hunt. I can't say fun without saying culinary classes. They're sharp. But let's not forget pickleball and other activities like tennis, gymnastics, or biking the many trails through Elmhurst. But what I'm really excited about is for our 4-legged friends. Elmhurst's first dog park, Canine Corner, which opened in June. It's been extremely popular, or perhaps I should say it's been a real woof of a success. Needless to say, there's lots to do at the Elmhurst Park District. So how long have we been having fun in Elmhurst? The Elmhurst Park District was formed over 100 years ago in 1920. We serve almost 10 square miles for nearly 47,000 residents across approximately 16,500 households. Elmhurst is a strong community with $3.5 billion in EAV, or Equalized Assessed Value. Since 2017, the Elmhurst Park District has had a AA1 bond rating, and our fiscal years from January 1st through December 31st. With a 2025 budget of nearly $27 million. Our tax rate for 2024 was 0.3261 on every $100 of assessed value, or only 5 cents on every tax dollar. And we were in the lower third compared to other agencies in DuPage County. With the passage of the referendum, we are now at the bottom of the upper third of those same agencies. I am very proud of what the Elmhurst Park District accomplishes with those tax dollars. Lastly, to the residents of Elmhurst, on behalf of our Park Board and the entire Park District team, I'd like to say thank you for saying yes to last November's referendum of nearly $90 million. This referendum will help springboard the Elmhurst Park District, creating new opportunities for all of Elmhurst residents. Now I'm going to turn it over to our Executive Director to provide some specific details around 2025 and beyond. Jim?
Thank you very much, Kevin, for that terrific introduction. Again, very pleased to be here as well to provide the state of the district for 2025. Kevin gave a great intro and warm up. And everything that the Elmhurst Park District does is driven by our mission, vision, and values. Our mission is to enrich lives while having fun, and we look forward to and believe that we do that every single day. Our values include things like customer service excellence, community focused, belonging, fun again, and integrity. And that mission, vision, and values has led us to our Elevate Elmhurst Parks plan, which was developed a couple of years ago through significant community engagement and involvement. and it really drives actions that we take to address the community's needs, including investing in new and modernizing our current parks, amenities, and facilities, expanding and enhancing our offerings, increasing opportunities for communication and collaboration, growing our fiscal capacity, and strengthening our organizational culture. As Kevin alluded to, you'll hear this mentioned frequently. Obviously, the referendum was a real watershed moment in the Elmhurst Park District's history, and really the history of the entire Elmhurst community. And we're excited tonight to give our first progress report. As we were preparing for this, it was literally just under a year ago today that we gave the state of the district last year. And at that point, we were about 9 days removed from the referendum. So we were still really flying high with excitement that things had just passed. And the referendum had just passed, and now we're excited to share with you our progress in just 1 year since that passage. We're going to talk about it kind of around each of the 6 projects that the community approved with that referendum. The first is the Wagner Community Center. As I'm sure most of you know, our plans call for replacing the existing Wagner Community Center, which was a 1950s elementary school, with a brand new, nearly 130,000 square foot state-of-the-art, vibrant facility. During the course of this year, we've undergone a significant amount of planning and schematic design development. The park board has approved things like the building elevations, the site plan, the exterior finishes, the entry plaza. We're excited that there will be a playground associated with the facility that will be used by those who are at the facility and also by the community as well. We also just now are in the midst of, well, I should say we've just completed, excuse me, let me back up. As of October 19th, we have finished, had our last programs at the former Wagner Center. It is now closed permanently. During this month of November, we are completing abatement in that facility, again, it being a 1950s, 60s vintage building. And then starting in December, we will complete demolition of the structure. This week, construction fencing is going up around the site, so it's really, really about to happen. And then we're excited to mention that on Saturday, December 6th at 10 a.m., we'll be hosting a ribbon cutting for the new facility entitled Demolition and Donuts. So we look forward to seeing you at that if you're able to join us that morning. In addition, obviously, with the challenge then of moving out of the current Wagner Center, we've had to relocate all of our programs and services and things like that. So we've made as much use as we possibly can of other park district facilities in the community. And then we've also, we went through a process to identify somewhere to move our gymnastics and dance programs as they require much larger facilities. So the park board earlier this year approved a lease to rent a warehouse space at 185 Industrial Drive. And we are retrofitting that building to hold, I should say, our gymnastics center and 2 dance studios. It'll also be the home of our registration staff offices. As part of all those moves, we also moved our main registration functional office over to the Keys Recreation Center. So again, we're very excited about all of these things as things continue to happen. As I said, demolition should be completed by the end of this year, and then starting in January, we will begin construction, and that will take about just under 2 years. And we are excited to reopen the new facility in the fall of 2027. The next project on the referendum, kind of associated with the Wagner Community Center project, is the conversion of one of our full-size natural grass soccer fields at Barron's Park to artificial turf. This will be right out in front of the community center. There will be a parking lot, and then this will be kind of south of the parking lot. So we're very, very excited about this too, and having that artificial turf that'll provide much more playability for the community for things like soccer and lacrosse, as well as a host of other sports. So that project will fall in line and be a part of the project with the Wagner Community Center. As I said, we're starting to put up construction fencing this week that will fence off the entire site. Next, moving on to the Wilder Park bandshell and restrooms, another project that we are very, very excited that the community is looking forward to seeing happen. This year, during the year, we are in the midst of our community engagement process around really what we're calling the Wilder Park South Master Plan. Sorry, I'm going to back up. I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. But first, to talk about the bandshell itself, again, in Wilder Park, very excited also to have permanent year-round restrooms there, and I will come back to that in a little bit. We're very excited about the project, so we sometimes tend to get ahead of ourselves. Next project is the Eldridge Park Permanent Heated Restroom Project. That project is the first one that's underway. The board approved the design for it. We went out to bid and began construction late in the summer, early fall. You see on the screen here a picture of the ribbon cutting that the park board held for the facility, and then an image of what it will look like. And I'm pleased to tell you that as of today, we're about 95% of the way there in completing that project. We had committed to the community that we would have it done by the end of this year and open for use by the end of 2025, and we're excited to do that. So stay tuned for the announcement that that'll be opening coming up here in December. Our next referendum project is to put a permanent year-round restroom building along the Prairie Path. This year we have been engaged in community engagement around that project to look to determine where it would be located. As when we went out to referendum and did our referendum information campaign, we talked about the possibility of one of three locations, that being somewhere near Spring Road, somewhere near Pioneer Park, and somewhere near York Road and kind of Safety Town and the Bicentennial Fountain. So this year, we held an open house and then did a community survey to garner input on those locations. And we are in the midst right now of evaluating the results of that survey. And we look forward to bringing those to the park board in early 2026 as we continue forth with that project with the intention of building that facility and having it open later in 2026. Next, you might be noticing a theme, and you remember from the referendum that the 4 restroom buildings were a major component of that. This one is up at Crestview Park, up at the north end of town. Again, we're very excited. We're kind of showing a similar type, or the same image, I should say, that we used for Eldridge Park. We're anticipating that restroom building at Crestview Park will be similar in size and scope and even appearance. And I'll talk a little bit more about this restroom project as we talk about more of our plans for for this year and for the coming years. And then one of the other things that we've been very much committed to the community about is to be very transparent and very communicative and keeping the community up to speed on what's going on in the projects. We're doing that through social media. We're doing that through mailings. We're doing that through postings on our website. We have a terrific, as you see here in the center screen, a terrific section on our website where all of the progress that I've described on this Zoom call can also be found, and we continue to update that on a monthly basis as we make progress with all of the projects. So please don't hesitate to check out the Park District's website at www.epd.org to learn more about the projects. So that's a lot of what took place in 2025, because again, the referendum being very exciting and being a big part of what we're doing, but it's certainly not everything. There are a whole host of other things that the district undertook to meet the needs of the community, and we're excited to go through a number of those accomplishments now. We'll start off with the fact that for the 5th time, the Elmhurst Park District has been accredited as a distinguished agency. This is a program, a joint program of the Illinois Association of Park Districts and the Illinois Park and Recreation Association that recognizes parks and recreation agencies for excellence in governance, operations, and service. And we're very proud to note that we just today received a formal official vote that we have been approved, as I said, for the 5th time as an accredited agency. We are one of 39 accredited park districts out of more than nearly 350 park districts in the state of Illinois. So we are very, very proud of that. Next, Kevin alluded to this. Again, a very exciting accomplishment for the park district and the community, that Canine Corner opened back in June, and it has been extraordinarily well received. This little pooch here in the middle of the screen is definitely evidence of that, but the response that we've gotten from the community has really, really been tremendous, and we're very, very pleased and excited about that. Wanted to report to everyone that as of today, we have had 707 humans buy passes for themselves and for their 854 four-legged best friends. So it has exceeded our projections for memberships and passes, and we're very, very excited about that. And we look forward to that continuing into 2026 and for the years to come. Next, I alluded to the restroom building at Crestview Park, and as part of looking at that restroom building, Crestview Park, or coming from the referendum, Crestview Park's playground is also up for replacement next year in 2026 as part of our regular playground scheduled replacement cycle. And so, as the Park District always does, we like to be very thoughtful and considerate, and the board always intends to be good stewards of the community's tax dollars. So rather than taking a piecemeal approach to putting in a restroom building and building a new playground, what we did was we undertook to do master planning for the entirety of Crestview Park. Again, held a couple of open houses, community survey, got some really fantastic input, and on the screen here you see the master plan itself. and that was approved by the park board earlier this year. And I'll talk in a few moments as we talk about 2026 projects about starting to implement that master plan. Next, I kind of started to steal my own thunder earlier, mentioning the band shell and restrooms in Wilder Park. Same kind of process as with Crestview Park. The district always likes to plan and be intentional and be good stewards of the tax dollars, and be thoughtful in decisions made. So rather than just saying, well, we're going to put the band shell in the park, we're going to put the restroom building in the park, we stepped back because in addition to wanting to address those, there are other needs in that park that need to be addressed as well. And those include things like determining the future of the former Lozadro Museum site. Though many on this listening to this or watching this might remember the Lozadro Museum that used to be on the east side of the park. The park district took that building down a couple of years ago, and we need to determine what will be the long-term future of that area of the park. We also want to develop some options to improve our horticultural or expand, I should say, our horticultural operations. The natural areas and floral beds and things throughout the district continue to grow and expand as we offer more and more, and we want to make sure that we have the operations to support that. We also need to figure out what will be the future of the district's now much former administrative building at 225 Prospect. It's the small brick building at the south end of the park by the conservatory. So again, that's all part of this planning process for the south end of Wilder Park. And while we're doing those things, all the while remembering that we want to make sure we are preserving the historic buildings in the park, particularly the Wilder Park Conservatory and the Wilder Mansion. I want to mention as we're working through that process that we've had some terrific input already, but that continues this Thursday night on Thursday, November 20th between 5:30 and 7 p.m. We will be holding our second open house for the Wilder Park South Master Plan. We invite the community to attend that, where they will be able to, where you, I should say, will be able to review 2 concept plans that were developed based upon feedback at our earlier open house and a survey that was conducted with the community, as well as input from the park board. During the open house, attendees can share their thoughts on design elements such as landscaping and natural features, ideas for the former Lozadro location, and the proposed location and design of the band shell, as I mentioned. Again, one of the projects that's coming forth from the referendum. But also, if you're unable to make that open house, you'll certainly still be able to give us your feedback because we will be launching an online survey this week to garner that same exact type of feedback. So we look forward to receiving that from you. That survey will run from November 20th through December 1st. We will then compile the findings from that. It'll be presented from the park board, and we will work into the beginning of next year with looking for the park board to approve the master plan for the south end of Wilder Park. Next, moving from kind of the center part of town up to the north end, one of the things we were very excited about that came about in the early part of the year, developed in spring and opened in June, was a new playground, replacement playground up at the hub at Barron's Park. You can see in the photos here, the park board at the ribbon cutting, and then the design and layout of the playground itself. We are very, very excited to open this up. It's got equipment for all ages and abilities, including a zip line, a tire swing, a shaded merry-go-round structure that offers accessible fun for kids and really kids of all ages, I would say, like Kevin and I here, perhaps. There are a number of additional improvements there as well, including streamlined seating areas, shaded picnic areas, and refreshed landscaping throughout the site. That playground, as you can see in the photo on the right here, kind of a unique design compared to most of the district's other playgrounds. And so it has received a tremendous amount of use and has really been being enjoyed by the community since it opened. Next, shifting playground to playground, but now down to the south end of town to Butterfield Park. At the Playground for Everyone, our universal playground, fully universal for individuals with disabilities. Based upon some community input and feedback we've received in recent years as part of the Elevate Elmhurst Parks plan, what we added to this play, no changes to the playground itself, but you can see in the front of the image here that we added fencing around the entirety of the playground. We heard from parents and caregivers that it would be helpful and beneficial to this playground in terms of providing a better experience and a more safe experience to fence the perimeter of the playground. So we're excited to do that this year, and that is being enjoyed and appreciated by playground users each and every day. Another project that we're very excited about, we know that we have tremendous usage of our ball fields and ball diamonds throughout the community, lots of active baseball organizations and softball organizations. We have an annual an annual plan to update and enhance and refresh our ball diamonds. This year, we replaced the backstops at all 3 of the fields at East End Park, in addition to resurfacing the infields. And as you can see by these photos, they really turned out well. Next, in addition to doing kind of those things that you see that are the things that the residents touch and feel and use, like ball diamonds and playgrounds, there's also the things that we all kind of get to take for granted as we go about our day-to-day, and some of those are our paved surfaces. But we are always mindful of trying to keep all aspects and amenities of our parks in as good a condition as possible. So we undertook two significant paving projects. The first one on the left image that you see here is the kind of the promenade and walking path at York Commons Park that leads into Smalley Pool and then out to the playground and ball diamond there. So that's been freshly repaved. And then also up at Barron's Park in the southwest corner of that park by the tennis courts and by the playground and sand volleyball courts, we repaved there, and that's the image on the right. Next, a project we are very, very excited about is that Courts Plus has gone solar. We launched this project also in the spring. Those kids there in the middle and the image on the left there was our Solarbration as we officially turned on the system. Now at Courts Plus, in the image that you see there on the right, there are 1,144 solar panels on the roof there. It's a terrific program that the Park District was able to take advantage of. While avoiding upfront costs altogether, the Park District has locked in its energy costs for half of Courts Plus electrical usage for the next 20 years, providing long-term savings and predictability with a net positive financial impact to the Park District of over $300,000 over those 20 years. The solar array that you see in that image has a capacity of almost 675 kilowatts and will generate approximately 754 megawatt hours of clean electricity annually. We like to mention that that's the equivalent of removing 118 gasoline-powered passenger vehicles from the road each year. So again, very, very excited to have taken this step. Just another example of the Park District trying to be green for the community. Next, sticking with Courts Plus, another thing that we did from kind of the green perspective is we replaced and updated the landscaping around the entirety of the perimeter of that facility. It had gotten kind of overgrown over the years, and just is a really nice opportunity to go in, clean up the facility, and put in the new landscaping. In addition, in the image there on the left, in the deck area outside of the lap pool, we put in a synthetic turf area that will also allow for some additional programming. You see here one of the yoga classes. This was just literally a day or two after the project was finished, and they were already ready to run out there and make use of it. Next, shifting gears from Courts Plus over to the Wilder Mansion. This project, I literally just talked to our staff about an hour ago to confirm our progress on this project. This project is literally in process as we speak and will be completed by the end of the year. But this involves the garden path, I should say, and beds in front of the Wilder Mansion here. So you see in this image, we've got the crushed stone paths that over the years, since the Wilder Mansion opened up, have gotten a tremendous amount of use, and it's kind of time for a refresh. We'll be putting in new edging and in a new stone base to serve folks. As I'm sure everyone knows, the Wilder Mansion gets a tremendous amount of use, both by community organizations and groups, and also folks who rent it for things like wedding receptions and anniversaries and parties. Next project is a terrific example of the district's never-ending efforts at interagency cooperation. We have, I believe last year at this time, we talked about the first phases of this effort that we undertook with the Ray Graham Association, where we entered into an agreement with them where we are able to use their community learning center that's down at the south end of town for a good amount of Park District program, as again, we're always stretched for space, particularly as we're out of the current Wagner Center. And so we are using their gymnasium. The image there that you see in the center, you can see that shining wood floor. One of the projects that we undertook in 2024 was to resurface that floor, sand it down, recoat it, put in new lines, and that has been very, very successful and of great use to the community. But one of the things about that gymnasium previously was that it was not air conditioned. And so we, in continuing partnership with the Ray Graham Association, we split the cost this year of air conditioning that facility. And it was a tremendous use for us and benefit for our participants, particularly during the summer months when some of our summer camps used it, as evidenced by some of these photos that you see. Switching gears entirely now over to Sugar Creek Golf Course. It was a big, big year at Sugar Creek Golf Course, the 50th anniversary of the golf course. And again, another terrific example of interagency cooperation. You may or may not be aware, but Sugar Creek Golf Course is co-owned by the Elmhurst Park District and the Village of Villa Park, and has benefited our residents as evidenced by now for 50 years. It has been tremendously successful, and so we're excited to celebrate the golf course's anniversary. And during some of the remarks made during the anniversary celebration, it was noted that to date, over 10 million driving range balls have been hit, and an estimated 1.5 million rounds of golf have been played. I can take credit for just a few of those, and Kevin as well, but we appreciate the involvement and the participation of both the Elmhurst residents and Villa Park residents and residents from all over the area who've really made the last 50 years wonderful, and we look forward to 50 more at Sugar Creek. Staying with the golf course, with that much use that it gets, this year in 2020, in 2025, what we did, I'm getting my years confused with projects that we did this year and that we have next year. But this year, you've seen these images here. We enhanced and refreshed one of the 3 bridges at the golf course. This is the West Bridge that is that is right off of hole number 1. So you can see kind of some of the lighter concrete in these photos. We put in new concrete for the approaches and then put in new railings, whereas these bridges from their original construction, again, back 50 years ago, did not have railings. So improve the golfer experience, but also improve the safety aspect of it as well. And of course, we've talked about a lot of projects and parks and facilities and things like that, but obviously at those facilities and parks, what goes on there are our programs and lots of many dynamic offerings. So some of the things we're excited about this year, we expanded our adult wellness offerings at the Keys Recreation Center and the Wagner Community Center. We received an award from the National Recreation and Park Association called the Game Changing Youth Sports Grant, and it was to implement a program called How to Coach Kids and Coaching Girls. And it was training for all of our instructors who work with and coaches who work with participants between the ages of 3 and 15. We were also able to expand the capacity of our Rec Station program. That's our before and after school program. Again, another interagency cooperative between the Elmhurst Park District and School District 205, where we offer before and after school care at each of the 8 elementary schools. Very, very popular program, lots of need for that in the community. We were able to work with the school district and expand the number of participants we're able to serve at Lincoln School. And so we went from serving about 70 students after school to right at about 100. So a really, really terrific enhancement and improvement to that program where we're serving more of the community. Next, we revamped our youth tennis program that takes place at Courts Plus to become a youth tennis pathway program. In terms of, and it also added programs, but really what it was intended to do is to provide participants and parents with a greater understanding of how do I move through the tennis program, how do I advance, how do I grow my skills. So a really nice enhancement there. We also expanded sports offerings kind of across the board for participants ages 3 to 15. And then lastly, we added new programming in adult tennis and pickleball to address demand. Pickleball, as we all know, is a very, very popular sport throughout the community. But in addition, in Elmhurst, tennis continues to be very, very popular as well at Courts Plus. I think this is the last, yes, this is the last thing I want to highlight for 2025, but we kind of are saving one of the best for last. We couldn't be more proud. We operate 2 outdoor pools, Norman P. Smalley Pool and East End Pool. And one of the things, folks have fun at them, they learn skills at them, they socialize with friends. But first and foremost, the most important thing at those facilities is that they be safe for our participants and that the community feels safe at those. And we believe we do everything in our power to make sure that that's the case. And that was recognized this year when the district received the first inaugural Seasonal Facility Safety Award from StarGuard Elite. StarGuard Elite is our lifeguard management program that we work with. And this award was awarded to organizations that have consistently excelled in fostering strong safety cultures among staff, maintaining high safety standards across their operations, and demonstrating a commitment to innovative training and procedures. So we couldn't be more proud. I love these 2 photos here. It's some of our aquatic staff on the left with the park board when we received the award, and then the aquatic staff kind of doing their thing on the right. So we were very, very excited and pleased to receive this. So that's kind of the capper to 2025. And as we do our State of the District 2025, we also like to kind of give a little peek ahead at the next year, 2026. You can take another quick drink of water. We have so much going on at the Park District, it kind of makes me parched. Earlier on, I mentioned what we have going on in terms of the referendum. So that'll be a lot of what we do in 2026. But just like with accomplishments, lots of other things as well. And again, the theme of getting back to Crestview Park. So I mentioned initially the Crestview Park restroom building that's part of the referendum. Then I mentioned that we developed with community input and the board approved the Crestview Park master plan. And then in 2026, we are looking to implement the first phase of that master plan. And that will include the year-round heated restroom that was part of the referendum. It'll also include a new playground that is up for replacement on our playground replacement cycle. We'll be also looking at putting in a new looped walking path throughout the park. A shelter will be replacing the ball field backstops and have a shaded seating shelter by the sport courts there in the middle of that image. If you squint a little bit, you can see we have 6 pickleball courts that get a tremendous amount of use. And so we're looking to enhance the user experience there as well. Next, moving to Barron's Park, I mentioned the popularity of tennis, both indoors at Courts Plus and out in the parks as well. We are looking to completely redevelop the 12 tennis courts at Barron's Park. This will include replacing both the 6 north and 6 south courts and the promenade area in between the courts, which is where folks walk between the courts and also view matches played on them, as well as replacing all of the fencing around the perimeter and the lighting as well. Lighting systems you can see in the center photo here. These light fixtures have been part of these courts for decades, at least probably 40, 50 years. The standards were a little bit different in the past, where these lights are on the courts or in between them. In the future, the light standards will be moved to the exterior along the fence lines, providing better lighting as well, but also a safer experience for tennis players. Next, shifting to, as I mentioned earlier, with baseball field and ball diamond improvements, we're going to undertake some significant improvements at Plunkett Park. This is a park at Plunkett Park, as I said, adjacent to Courts Plus, kind of in the center west part of the community. The work here will include replacing the buckling asphalt that you can see on the right there in terms of the walkways that go between the fields and to the concession stands and restrooms. We will also be replacing the backstops and the dugouts and the sideline fencing. Other improvements will include new shaded bleachers, new landscape beds, and then to make sure that this facility is fully accessible, all the pedestrian spaces and paving will be designed to comply with current ADA standards. Next, shifting back up a little bit to Barron's Park. Many of you might have in the past used the mini golf course there at the hub. It has been closed for 2 years now. As we've been undertaking a process to determine what the future of that area would be. The photos in the bottom image that you see here are aerial shots of that, and you can see the spray ground kind of to the left there. We were trying to figure out exactly what the community wanted to see in this site, and that's why it's been closed. But we got, again, some terrific engagement and feedback from the community this year, and what the majority indicated to us was that they would like to see it remain as mini golf. So we're excited that we will be keeping mini golf on the site. We're going to be demolishing the existing course and regrading the site for an entirely brand new course, and we're very, very excited to bring that to the community. In addition to all the things that I've mentioned, sometimes even as I click through the slides, it's like, wow, it just kind of keeps coming. In addition, we have the 2 outdoor pools in the community, Smalley Pool and East End Pool. At Smalley Pool, at both pools, obviously important for us to keep up the kind of behind the scenes things at the pools to keep them running and operating and safe for the community. At Smalley Pool, we will be updating and refurbishing the pool gutter system that you see in the image here on the left. That's kind of what you see where the water flows over and recirculates back into our circulating system as you climb the ladders out of the pool. As I said, we'll be doing some repairs to that, and we will also be replacing the singular boiler at the pool so that we can continue to make sure that the pool is heated appropriately. Shifting then to East End Pool, our second outdoor pool, we will be doing the same thing, replacing the perimeter gutters at the pool. You can see those shown in the image on the left here. Replacing one of the heat exchangers, again, making sure that the pool stays at appropriate temperatures. And then we're also pleased that we will be replacing the lounge chairs and deck furniture at East End Pool, as well as the lounge furniture at the spray ground at the hub as well at Barron's Park. For those of you who are users and fans of Smalley Pool, you might be wondering, well, wait, what about the lounge chairs at Smalley Pool? We replaced those just a couple of years ago, and now it's East End Pool's turn. Again, taking care of those things that aren't always the most visible, but they're very, very critically important for us to provide services, is looking at the roofs on the many, many facilities that the Park District operates. We will be doing 2 things here. On the right, the image that you see there is at the Keys Recreation Center. We will be doing a restoration to that roof. It's not a full roof replacement, but restoring it to making sure that it stays watertight as we move into the future years. And then on the left at the bathhouse, we won't be replacing the big brown roof that you see there, but just you can kind of just see a little bit of the image at the bottom. One of the flat roofs there that's over the south locker room and the mechanical systems, we will be replacing that roof. Talked about paving in terms of some of the accomplishments for 2025, that we basically are doing some sort of paving every year to keep the district's parks in the appropriate condition. In 2026, we have a number of projects planned. At Conrad Fisher Park, we'll be removing and replacing the north and south paths in that park that kind of go from the playground over to Churchville Middle School. And we'll also be adding a new path on the south end of the park that will connect basically Churchville Middle School over to Conrad Elementary School, and we'll have a nice loop throughout the whole park. So we're excited to do that. At Eldridge Park, we will be replacing the south path on the west side of the park. So if you've ever been to that park by the lagoon, this is the path that is between the parking stalls and the lagoon there. So a really nice section of walking path that is also part of the Salt Creek Greenway Trail. So we're excited to refurbish that. And then lastly, one of our very small but very beloved neighborhood parks, Kiwanis Park, on kind of the southeast portion of the community. You can see the paths there in the bottom right are in need of replacement. So we're excited to remove and replace all of the paths in Kiwanis Park as well. Next, shifting back to Sugar Creek Golf Course, hopefully in a positive way, you notice some themes in terms of how the district maintains and cares for the community's assets. I mentioned the work that we had done on the West Bridge at Sugar Creek Golf Course. There are two other bridges. On the image here, on the right is this bridge in the center part of the golf course, and then on the left is a bridge at the eastern part of the golf course, and they'll kind of be getting that same treatment as the other bridge, where we'll be improving and enhancing some of the approaches and then putting in those guardrails. So we're excited to bring that to pass next year as well. And then again, from the programming perspective, we talked about offerings in 25. Some of the things we're excited about in 2026 is expanding our wellness offerings for all ages, particularly looking at flexible drop-in classes for adults and families. We're finding in terms of listening to the community, and what they're telling us is that there are times when folks, want to sign up for a program that might meet for 6 or 8 or 10 weeks, but there are other times when they want the options to do drop-in programs, and so we're excited to expand those. We'll also be adding new programs and special events that promote adult recreation. When we did our most recent community survey, we were pleased to hear that folks are really saying adults are saying that they'd like to see more programming for themselves. So it'll be a lot of one-day programs and events, such as family bingo events, family puzzle palooza, Lego nights. I don't know about Kevin, but I'm excited and signing up for at least 2 of those. So looking forward to that in 2026. I mentioned that tennis programming continues to really flourish, and we're going to be looking and expanding our indoor tennis program at Courts Plus, particularly in the summer, when the Barons Park tennis courts will be closed for that refurbishment project that I mentioned. And then lastly, we showed the image, but starting to look to utilize the new Courts Plus outdoor turf area by the pool as programming space. And I would be remiss, of course, if I didn't mention the little image here in the bottom right is one of those drop-in programs for all ages, kind of looking at wellness programs as well, and a program called Bama Stay. I'm imagining that's goat yoga. I know we did a little bit of that this year, so we're looking to expand that, as it was very, very well received. Talked a lot about programs and services and how projects and how we offer services and care for the districts and communities' amenities. Want to just hit a little bit on financials for the district, very, very high level. We have a whole bunch of information on the Park District's website if you want to see our budgets and our annual audits and things like that. But want to just hit on a couple things. First is to mention that for many, many years now, the Elmhurst Park District's both budget document and its annual audit have been award-winning, as recognized by the Government Finance Officers Association. We have, for our budget document, been received Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for 19 consecutive years. And then for our audit, or our annual financial report, we've received an Excellence in Financial Reporting Award for 17 consecutive years. And we're crossing our fingers that it will be 18, as we're waiting to hear the results from our 2024 audit. And then Kevin alluded to this earlier in his presentation, and we like to show it graphically. This chart's a little complicated, but hopefully not too much so. This is a listing of the property tax rates of every park district in DuPage County from the left being the highest tax rate to the right being the lowest. And what we like to illustrate, this was a significant part of our referendum information campaign. On just over to the right, you see the green arrow pointing to what the Elmhurst Park District's tax rate was before the referendum. And as Kevin said, we were at the top of the bottom third of tax rates in DuPage County. And now after the referendum, you see where our tax rate is in the blue there. And again, as Kevin alluded to, we're at about the bottom of the top third. Also like to mention here that what we're kind of trying to illustrate to the community is that complete change. So the reason why we're not still kind of where the green bar is because of the referendum that was passed by the community. So kind of our standard regular annual property tax levy is still very comparable to what it has been. And that increase there is attributed directly to the results of the referendum. And we couldn't be more happy that the community placed their trust in the board and the district moving forward to bring these projects to fruition and use those tax dollars wisely. And so with that, we very much appreciated having the opportunity to share this information with you. I'm going to click here real quick and see. We don't have any questions in the chat, which is perfectly fine. We're at about 40 minutes. And so we very, very much appreciate the time of those folks who jumped on tonight to attend with us. But as Kevin said, this is being recorded and it'll be up probably in the next day or two on our website, and we'll even promote it on social media where folks can come in and listen to it. So if you found the information informative and helpful, please don't hesitate to let your friends and neighbors know that they can take a moment to watch it as well. So Kevin, I don't know if you have any last words you'd like to share?
No, I'm just happy that we are able to do this and get this information out to the community on what the Elmhurst Park District is doing today and also into the future to further this community.
Thank you very much, Kevin. We appreciate that. And we will see you in about a year for the State of the Park District 2026. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Have a good night.